Here we go. All right. Hey, welcome back. This is Marshall, Mississippi's Zoom edition. Got a great guest today. And before we get to her, we're going to just tell you real quickly a little bit about Mississippi Today. Of course, we are a nonprofit, nonpartisan news site. We bring you the day's issues day in and day out. And the good news is to you, it's free. That's right. We never have a paywall. We never put advertising on our site. However, we do ask for donations. We do like to sign up members. And if you'd like to become a member, you can click on the donate button on our homepage and you can get all kinds of great extras. It's so you can donate $1 or you can donate $1 zillion. Of course, I'd like you to donate $1 zillion. But anyway, check us out, MississippiToday.org. Well, you know, Marshall's Mississippi has been on the road. We have traveled to several states around the state. One of the places we have been to is Starkville, Mississippi. Of course, Starkville is one of my favorite places. I always love to come up and visit my friends up in Stark Vegas. And today we're honored to have the mayor of Starkville, Mississippi on with us, Lynn Spruill. She's a native of Starkville and graduate of Starkville High School and Mississippi State University, and also is a former naval aviator, the first female to land on an aircraft carrier, which I think is incredibly cool. I've done it on video games and usually end up in a fireball. So needless to say, I have complete respect. She's also a two-time mayor. She's not only mayor of Starkville now, but she was mayor of Addison, Texas, and a former Delta pilot. And needless to say, looking at your resume, Lynn, I feel a little bit like I need to go out and get busy. But anyway, welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, particularly when I can talk about what is my favorite subject, Starkville. So thank you.
Exactly. And you know, I mean, you did a great job of it when we were up there visiting, and I know you believe in Starkville 100%. You know, obviously that seems like about 5 million years ago that we were together, and I think it was just a few months ago, but I know the world has changed a lot in the last 3 months. And, you know, being a mayor is a 24/7 job anyway. But now you have to feel like you're constantly having to go 24/7. How are you holding up?
Actually, I'm holding up very well, and I appreciate the question. I've had a lot of people who have been so kind. I have received thank you notes. I have received phone calls. It's been amazing, the people who have come out and just been very supportive, understanding that this is a tough time for all of us. And you know, it's particularly a gut punch for Starkville because I felt like we had ourselves on a trajectory that was quite amazing. You know, the university was doing well, and we had a new coach, 2 new coaches. We had a Cornerstone Park, which we were working on, which is a tournament recreation facility. We've got a build grant for $12.6 million recently. We've got a new industrial park. I mean, we were just really headed up, you know, and so this has just brought a screeching halt to all of that, and trying to figure out how to deal with the drama that goes with putting the brakes on big projects. It also is just, how do we deal with the small day-to-day stuff? You know, for example, we're not going to open our swimming pool this summer.
Wow.
Probably the first time ever. And that's just, you know, it's no longer a virus issue. It's now a fiscal issue. So the swimming pool is a very expensive thing to operate for a fairly short period of time, and we just are not in a position to be able to afford it. So it's those little bitty things that hurt almost as much, just in the sense of having some normal expectation for how your summer is going to go. So that's part of the difficulty of it. And of course, then you got social media that does all kinds of interesting things to you, you know, and that's a 24/7 for sure. You know, 2 in the morning, I'll get up at 5 and I'll look at somebody's tweeted or texted or done something at 2 in the morning. You're going, come on, people, you know, get a nap, take a nap.
Well, and I got to give you credit on that. I mean, I really do enjoy following you on Twitter because your feed is like a combination of information, and you answer questions, and you're very open and you're very honest. And you have been very understanding and very calm with people that are obviously scared for good reason and probably nervous, but also they can be pretty nasty at times too. But you're always very steady on how you answer. What's your thinking on that? I mean, how do you remain calm? Because I know there's times when people come at me, I just want to come at them swinging.
Well, and I do, but I'll then delete it all. You know, you type and then you delete, and you type and you delete.
Yeah.
And you let your blood pressure settle down a little bit, because you know they're struggling. We're all struggling. And so how do I get the best response? And staying factual is very much what I intend to do, because I get snarky every now and then. But that's generally because somebody is just being just totally unreasonable and is not allowing an engagement, and also engaging on social media in ways that are inappropriate for a real answer and a real discussion to try to
Right.
get them there. So I suggest that, give me a call, email me, and let's have a robust discussion. And that generally will stop some of that back and forth that ends up being pointless.
Definitely on that. We were talking a little bit before we started recording that, when you're a mayor, you're obviously, you're constantly having to look at your sales tax numbers and try to figure out what's going on. But it's like your receipts are usually 2 months behind, if I'm correct on that. Right now, how are things looking, and what are you having to do to kind of anticipate what's going to happen in another month or so when things will kind of fall off the cliff?
Well, we anticipated back in March. That's when things became obvious that we were going to have to do something, and we shut down. So we did a hiring freeze, and we have sadly furloughed folks,
Yeah.
made decisions like closing the swimming pool and shutting down the parks, and some of that was in conjunction with the governor, the president, the CDC, and all of those things. But you're absolutely right. We get our information 2 months in arrears, and so our March numbers, which were half a month of closure and half a month of fairly normal operations, gave us a 33.83 decrease in our food and beverage tax and an 11% decrease in our sales tax. I expect April to be not similar, probably double that. Although people have certainly been shopping at Kroger and Walmart and all those sorts of things, we still are going to have a significant sales tax decrease, and our food and beverage is probably going to be down 70% would be my guess. And of course, food and beverage is what is supposed to fund our new tournament facility.
Right.
So as an example of what we've had to do in looking 2 and 3 years, not months, but years out, and what it's going to take for a recovery, we have pushed our principal and interest payments out on those bonds so that we're paying interest only for a couple of years. So in trying to work out how we're going to move forward, because you can't stop. I mean, the city's going to go on.
Right.
So you can't stop your projects. So how do you manage them so that you can still afford to do them and still have a future for the things that you knew were the right things to do, a year ago, 2 years ago? Because, our term is 4 years. And we spent the first 2 years putting what I perceive to be important elements of growth in place, like an annexation project, which is going to go to trial in September. It was supposed to be June, but because of the COVID issues, they've delayed it to September. The project that we were talking about with the Cornerstone Park, the industrial park to the north, the build grant, so all kinds of things that we had in place to continue. So how do we not stop that trajectory, but perhaps, like flattening the curve on the virus,
Right.
Flatten it to the point where it's manageable from a fiscal perspective.
You've, you as an executive, and of course, as the leader of the city, of course, you work with so many people in the city, but you have to constantly balance the health needs of your citizens and, of course, the economic needs. How hard has that been?
It's been extremely difficult. And I say that because you've got, on one end, you've got the open it up, you're causing my constitutional rights to be impeded. And then I've got the other end where shut it down until we get a vaccine.
Yeah.
Neither one of those are sustainable or something that we can still have a city and run the city on. So it's been very difficult. And to give you an example of the need to be very cautious with masks, we've got firefighters, two of whom one of them, his wife had it and he tested positive, and then another one who tested positive. So you could wipe out an entire group of your firefighters, an entire section of firefighters. So you have to be very cautious about what you are requiring them to do so you don't lose your first responders. And I found out yesterday we've got 2 street department workers who are exposed and now have to quarantine for 14 days. Well, we still have to fill potholes. So those are the kinds of things, to say nothing of the people who are going into Walmart. And, I wear masks when I go out because I think the thing about this virus that's different, everybody says this is like the flu. Well, if I got the flu, I know I've got the flu. I stay home and I put the covers up over my head and I stay there for a week or so. But in this case, I could be the carrier and I could have it, but I don't know it because for whatever reason, I don't manifest it. I feel great. So in respect to those that I might be infecting, because I think I'm, bulletproof, I try to wear the mask at the times that I can't stay socially distanced from people. And I think that's the distinction that, for whatever reason, seems to get lost in this discussion. It's not that it's not like the flu in the sense of maybe the numbers who are infected, but it's not like the flu in that I may have it and give it to others, but not know it because I'm asymptomatic. So I think there's a distinction there that for whatever reason seems to get lost in this feeling of, you're shutting down our country and you're going to kill us all. I had a lady yesterday who called me and said, do I have to wear a mask in Walmart, or don't they have to wear a mask in Walmart? And I said, no, ma'am, we're following the governor's order, and the governor says that, it's for barbershops and nail salons and those sorts of things. And she said, well, then everybody's going to die. So it's that, it's that wide spectrum that you're having to figure out how to navigate. And it is not simple because you want to please everybody. I mean, that's why we get into this, is to try to do the best thing for everybody. And sometimes you just can't. And this is most definitely one of those times.
It's one of those times where I guess you as a leader, you just try to figure out what's right instead of what's popular.
Absolutely. Well, yeah. and to be perfectly frank, that's not hard for me, although, people may disagree with what I think is right. But I didn't get into this to get reelected. I got into it to do what I thought was the best thing for Starkville. So, my 1 4-year term, I've done what I thought was the right thing. Not everybody likes my idea of annexation. We've had those discussions. It wasn't a 7-0 vote, for example, when we got to it. And what you got to remember about my position from our city's code charter is I'm a weak mayor. I mean, I got nothing except a veto and just the bully pulpit, if you will. So, from that perspective, all I can do is give my best out there in terms of what I think we ought to do. And we buy into it, if people think it makes sense and that's where we're going to go, then it takes the board. So this is a joint effort. This is truly a team effort for how we move forward.
You got a little bit of a good news. The IHL said that there's going to be in-person classes this fall. Of course, nobody knows what that's going to look like. We don't know if there's going to be a second wave. We don't know what's going to deal with football season. I've always said if they tried to cancel football season, the SEC would come up with a vaccine tomorrow. They would figure out a way to do that. But as we wrap up, what is your prediction for the next 6 months? What is your goals to try to do to get through till the end of the year?
Well, one of the things is an example, there's a lot of stuff that makes you feel better. And it may not be that it is as effective. It may not be what you wanted to do. But for example, we had to make the decision on fireworks. Normally we have a huge party in our parks for July the 4th. Well, and whether to spend the money, so this year, just because it makes us feel better, and I think we need that now as a part of what we do. We're going to have just a fireworks display so people can come sit in their car or, find a blanket somewhere if they want to, try to keep that social distance, but we're going to have fireworks. Same kind of thing with the football and the basketball, all of those things. I think it's important. And I certainly know that the SEC provides a good funding source to Mississippi State. And having kids back in class, I know Dr. Keenum has said that they're trying to figure out, do they alternate, Monday, Wednesday, Friday class? Do they have half the class on Monday and the other half attend on Wednesday and then have it all Zoomed on Friday? So, I don't know what they're going to work out, but I'm just delighted to have the kids come back to campus because in a college town, and let's face it, that's predominantly what we are, is that energy that comes with those kids. It just makes every day a fun day. So I really am looking forward to having them back because they are what they and the faculty, of course, and then the community and how we embrace them is what makes Starkville so special. And so I really love the combination of Starkville and Stark Vegas. So I'm looking for that to come back to us. And with a new coach, I'm just really stoked about it. So I'm very hopeful that we will see all of that and it'll come to fruition in a way that makes us keep that Egg Bowl in town for starters.
You've got a very exciting coach, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun, not only for you, but for me as a cartoonist. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him. And let me just say as we wrap up, go ahead and throw out your Twitter account again so that folks can follow you.
Oh, it's Lynn_Spruill. So it's @Lynn_Spruill. So it's my name. It'll follow me wherever I go.
Exactly. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time, and thank you for, like I said, your leadership. You've done a great job, and I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. Any last thoughts?
No, I'm just happy to do it. Anytime you want to talk about Starkville, you feel free to give me a call.
Awesome. Take care. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.